Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unravel the hidden stories within corporate filings. And tonight we are diving deep into Ernexa Therapeutics, Inc.'s latest quarterly report. Buckle up, because this report reads like a roller coaster for anyone trying to understand where this company is headed. So what exactly is Ernexa Therapeutics, Inc. doing? They are a company focused on developing cell therapies for cancer and autoimmune diseases. Think groundbreaking science aimed at helping patients who have limited options. It sounds promising, but like any company in this sector, especially one that is still in the early stages, it faces a lot of risks. Let's talk about the financials, because that is where the real story often lies. It is a tale of cash burn and need for more funding and some interesting financial maneuvers. Looking at their balance sheet as of the 30th of September 2025, they have about $3 million in cash. That might sound like a decent amount, but keep in mind they have an accumulated deficit of over $244 million. That is a big hole to climb out of. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025, they reported a net loss of $1.2 million. For the 9 months ending the same date, the loss ballooned to $12.6 million. This shows the company is spending a lot more money than it is bringing in, which is typical for a company in this stage of development. But it also means they will need more money to keep going. Their cash flow statement paints a clear picture. They used $5.9 million in operating activities during the first 9 months of 2025. This means their day-to-day operations are draining their cash reserves. Now let's look at how they are trying to fund these operations. They've been busy raising money. For instance, during the 9 months ending the 30th of September 2025, they raised $7.2 million in gross proceeds from selling shares and pre-funded warrants. This is good. They are actively seeking capital. They also mention having received funds from 2 promissory notes totaling $2.3 million, which were later repaid. Revenue is a critical area for any company. For Ernexa Therapeutics, Inc. for the 3 and 9 months ending the 30th of September 2025, revenue was practically zero. This is a stark contrast to 2024, when they had some revenue from a customer contract related to an exclusive option and license agreement. However, that contract was assigned to another company, Factor Bioscience, in September 2024. So that one-time revenue stream is gone. This highlights the challenge many early-stage biotech companies face in generating consistent income from their research. Where is all that money going? A huge chunk is going into research and development. This is expected given their focus on developing new therapies. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025, they spent $1.0 million on R&D, up slightly from the prior year. For the 9 months of 2025, R&D expenses were $3.5 million, also a small increase. The biggest R&D expenses seem to be MSA or license fees, then payroll and professional fees. This spending is crucial for their future, but also contributes to their ongoing losses. General and administrative expenses also play a role. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025, these costs were $958,000, down significantly from $3.4 million in the same period of 2024. This drop is mostly due to a decrease in occupancy expenses after they terminated a sublease and a reduction in professional fees. Similarly, for the 9 months of 2025, GAA expenses dropped to $3.7 million from $11.6 million in 2024. This shows a real effort on their part to cut down on overhead, which is a positive sign for efficiency. There was a significant gain on lease termination in 2024 of about $1.6 million, which helped their financials then, but it was a one-time event and not repeated in 2025. One really interesting item is the forward sales contract expense of $5.8 million for the 9 months ending the 30th of September 2025. This is a big expense, and it is related to a securities purchase agreement they entered into in March 2025. Essentially, the value of the shares they agreed to provide exceeded the proceeds they received. This is a complex financial instrument that impacted their bottom line significantly. They also had a gain on extinguishment of debt of $734,000 in 2025 related to time-barred liabilities, which is a fancy way of saying old debts they no longer have to pay. In contrast, in 2024, they had a large loss on extinguishment of debt of $22.4 million related to exchanging convertible notes and warrants. This shows a lot of financial restructuring happening. Let's briefly touch on liabilities. The carrying amounts of things like cash and receivables are pretty close to their fair value because they are short term. But they also have liabilities measured at fair value, like contingent consideration, which is currently valued at $41,000. Thankfully, warrant liabilities seem to have almost disappeared from their books. Now, for the commitments and contingencies section. This tells us about potential future problems. There is a lawsuit called Donoghue versus Cherrington, and Ernexa filed in October 2025. It is related to alleged short swing profits, which is a violation of securities laws. This is something to keep an eye on. Looking at warrants as of the 30th of September 2025, the company has a mix of liability classified and equity classified warrants. Some have exercise prices that are quite high, like $572 for the Q1 to 22 warrants, and others are very low, like $0.075 for pre-funded warrants. The total number of warrants outstanding is about 415,000. Related party transactions are always worth a close look. Charles Cherrington, a significant stockholder and former board member, was involved in several of these transactions, including the March 2025 promissory notes, which were later repaid. His involvement highlights the interconnectedness of the company's financing and its key stakeholders. The management discussion section confirms what we've seen in the numbers. They are in a preclinical stage, needing substantial capital and facing uncertainties. They are actively seeking funding through various means like equity offerings and strategic partnerships. The report frankly states there is substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern. This is a significant disclaimer, meaning there is a real risk they might not be able to operate for the next 12 months without more funding. Analysis. So what is my take on Ernexa Therapeutics Inc.? Based on this report, they are a company with ambitious goals in a high-risk, high-reward field. The science behind their IMSE therapy sounds promising, and their focus on cancer and autoimmune diseases addresses significant unmet needs. However, the numbers tell a story of a company burning through cash with no significant revenue streams yet. The substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern is a serious red flag. It means their future survival heavily depends on their ability to secure significant additional funding very soon. If they fail to raise capital, they could face bankruptcy or liquidation, which would mean investors lose their money. The recent equity transactions show they are trying to bridge this gap, but the sheer amount of accumulated deficit and ongoing operational losses indicates a long and uncertain road ahead. They are in a race against time to prove their science can translate into a viable business. Alright, that is our deep dive into Ernexa Therapeutics Inc.'s latest report. What do you think about their chances? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. Also join our Discord community linked in the description to keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching and see you next time.